Waterfall, the CCW podcast.
Hello and welcome to Waterfall. It's a water saving podcast brought to you by CCW, the Consumer Council for Water. We're all about saving water, saving money, protecting the environment and combating climate change. Today we are going to look at leakage. We know that is an issue for consumers, but it's absolutely vital the companies tackle their leakage because it's all part of people's own motivation to save water in their own lives. Companies do their bit and people will be more inclined to do their bit too. And we've got a fab guest on from Severn Trent Water. It's Howard Perry. Hi, Howard. Welcome back to Waterfall.
Hello, Mike. Thanks for having me back again and for such a lovely introduction.
Well, last time you were on, Howard, you were talking about carbon and you were Severn Trent's energy manager at that point, and now you are in charge of leakage for Severn Trent, or in charge of reducing leakage, I think is probably a better way of putting it. Is that correct?
Yes, part of that, yeah. The targeting and strategy of our leakage reduction plan, which is a big part of the whole thing, because there are many, many people at Severn Trent and the other water companies who are working on exactly that issue. And there's numerous people that live and breathe it, which is fantastic to see. It's a great environment to work in. There's people really passionate about what we do.
Okay, point well made. You're not the only person working on leakage at Severn Trent. Let's just start with some context, though, because we know that in England in particular and in Wales, there are water resource issues. The Environment Agency produced a report very recently, and we're recording this in July 2025. The Environment Agency last month released their updated long-term framework for water resources, and in that document said we need to find 5 billion extra litres of water per day by 2055. Now, 5 billion litres of water is just a mind-blowing amount that I don't think anyone can really comprehend what that looks like, feels like. And I don't particularly like the kind of, it's 5 Wembley stadiums in. That doesn't really help. Wembley's not full of water. But in that document, it says that we're going to find all this water by 2055, and the 60% of that water we've got to find is going to be found by either reducing leaks or reducing our consumption. So I just want to pick your brains. Do you think that split is fair? Should we be just building loads more water resources? I mean, what's your view on that?
Yeah, great question. And it's a similar challenge in water actually to energy, which is one of the reasons I moved over. There's a lot of crossovers. It's managing supply and demand to make sure there is enough for what customers need. We've got that challenge in energy, and we've absolutely got that challenge in water as well. And one of the big things is to make sure there is enough water for the environment, and that's the supply side. And one of the reasons why you can't just build your way out of that problem is you need to leave enough water in the environment, and that's why there is a slant towards leakage consumption reduction, and that is absolutely our job. It's our network to maintain. We know leakage has got to go down. That means we waste less, and we know we've got to work with customers to use less and fix leaks on their property as well. So I think that split is about right. It's one of the things we keep under really close review, because different areas are different. We do have supply solutions that can protect the environment, get more water out. So it is a mix of both. But I think broadly that split's about right. We've got to go after the waste in the demand side.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also when you look at it, new resources can often take many, many years to develop, if not decades, if you're talking about reservoirs. So actually going at leakage and going at consumption is something that we can all do faster as well. So that can make a big difference too.
And we do plan in those terms. We do plan long term, so you can plan those schemes and get all the planning in and work out pretty. But as you're right, they take a long time. They're very expensive. They'll give you a permanent solution. And one of the issues on leakage and consumption is you've got to be working at it all the time, day in, day out, 24/7. You've got to keep on top of it. Whereas if you build a scheme, you've got to maintain it, but it's there for certain. So there is a mix there that we need. And supply side investment is definitely one of the answers. And that's why our plan and other companies' plan has that mix.
Yeah, and you can see there is a tendency with engineers. You build something and you've got a thing. I built a big thing and it's there. And as you said, picking up on your word certainty, you've got that certainty. But I do think with reinforcing messages, we can lock in people's brains that actually water saving is an easy thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And there's loads of benefits, for the environment, as you mentioned, but also for your pocket from saving money too. So we know leakage is one of these tech issues in the water sector. So just tell us a bit about what you are doing to reduce leakage.
Yeah, it is a systemic issue. And I know when I talk to customers, and I know when we've done research as well, it tells us that leakage is still in customers' top priorities. And even at a time where river water quality's got a lot of attention, so that's shot up the agenda, rightly so, leakage is still in that mix. And when you're in a hot summer, as we are now, as we sit here in July, it just goes up the agenda again. Why are you companies leaking water, and what are you doing about it? So it is really important to us. We know it's a systemic issue. We know it's our problem. It's our network. And that's why we've been reducing leakage over time. We're way beyond as well the level at which you would say this is just the economic level of leakage. We're happy there. That's about the right financial day in, day out cost benefit. We want that to go down and down. So we're below that economic level of leakage. And to do that, there's a whole load of work. So proactive investment is a chunk of that, like the supply side. We've got mains renewal going in this 5-year period that we're in at the moment, that we've just stepped into, 2025 to 2030. So proactive investment in the network, but the lion's share of it is operational activity on a day-to-day basis. It's finding leaks, it's responding to customers when they report leaks, which is great. We always want customers to report leaks, and then it's getting out and fixing those leaks. And a big chunk of how we've changed over the last few years and got to lowest levels of leakage, which is where we are at the moment, is by stepping up the number of those finds and repairs that we do. And we've got a really, I'd call it, slick operation of targeting the leakage, using the data, getting people out to find it and raise the jobs, getting the jobs out to fix the leak, which can be a quick, simple fix, and sometimes there's a bit more complex dig required. And that volume of leak repairs combined with a bunch of other measures is what's caused down to lowest level of leakage, which is how we outturned at the end of the last financial year. So there's a whole load of work that goes into that, but in a nutshell, proactive work, finding and fixing leaks, and managing our network carefully, and managing pressure on the network is another part of that.
And so that makes sense. You replace your mains proactively. That makes a lot of sense. And then find and fix, again, makes sense. So this find and fix, is that people ringing in and reporting leaks, or is it your people going around with, I keep hearing stories of sniffer dogs and satellites and drones and goodness knows what else, Uri Geller finding leaks. So what is your approach to that?
Yeah, we'll try anything. And so we love customers to report leaks, and they do. So we get those regularly. People will ring in or report through the website. Here's the leak, here's the location. Great. We will get someone out to check it, pinpoint it, and fix it. So we love those, and that'll be a constant stream of work, because the network is always generating leaks as things change, as the ground moves, as we have freeze thaw events in the winters. And as you have road traffic or building going on, that can cause leaks on the network. So those are visible leaks. They're the easy ones, if you like. The really tricky ones are the ones underground, more difficult to detect. And we've got a whole load of professional people who've been doing that, some of them for decades, that are very experienced in doing that. So they'll use acoustic techniques, but really that's just listening to the pipe to try and pinpoint it, combined with data from flow loggers and what we call correlators, which is where you put a few loggers out and it pinpoints where the leak is. And then some more out there technology. So we're just commissioning some satellite surveys in an area where we've got a particular challenge in July as we sit. So that's one area of generating points of interest. So we'll try various different things. Drones is another thing that has been used, but it's the core activity of people being out and using that data technology, using their experience really to find the leaks. That's the main part of what we do.
We talk about smart meters quite a lot on Waterfall, and the benefits to people from having a smart meter in terms of raising awareness of consumption, but also leaks on customer side as well, on the bit of the pipe that customers are responsible for. Do you find smart meters helping in your patch too?
Definitely, yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's another area where we at Severn Trent are doing a load more metering over the current 5-year period that we're in. So yeah, your meter will tell you if there is a leak or a continuous use on a customer property. So we've had meters in place for a long time. You can go and check that meter. What a smart meter then enables you to do is centrally pick up the data on a day-by-day, hour-by-hour basis and see what that really looks like and pick it up much quicker. So they are very helpful. And one of the things I always remind people when I speak to them about is that leakage number does include custom side leaks. It's leaks on customers' pipes that we don't own, but we are as invested as anyone in finding those and trying to get those fixed and help customers to fix those. And the smart meter really helps you to do that. And they come in various forms. Sometimes they're very tricky underground pipe work from the road into your property. So we'll often help customers to find those because they're harder. Sometimes they're in the property. It's something as simple as a leaking toilet that you just need to fix and get a plumber to fix, which is quite straightforward when you get down to it. And sometimes they're a bit more complex usage patterns that people might be able to manage it a different way. So smart meters tell you a huge amount and they help us find customer leads quicker. So they are good. They're very helpful.
Yeah, no, it's good. And there's a lot of potential with smart meters. I think smart water meters to help people understand what they do or in their own home. I mean, we said already that this is a totemic issue. Do you think your customers believe you're doing enough on leakage? I mean, do you what sort of feedback do you get from your customers?
Yeah, good question. So I think we're doing enough and we communicate loads on what we're doing. People's individual experience makes a big difference, doesn't it? So I'm looking at customer issues this morning, actually, where someone's reported a leak and yet it's not been repaired in 5-10 days and they would expect us to come out straight away. What is sometimes going on there is we're prioritizing, so making sure the resource that we've got is going to the biggest, most important leaks. Customers don't always see that because you see the leak that is in front of them. But nevertheless, fixing those visible leaks quickly is really important for credibility and keeping customers informed. And we always want to do those quickly so we can get better there. So anyone who's seen a leak, report it. Absolutely do chase us down. We want to fix that as quick as you do. Sometimes there's a resource thing going on in the background, but that's for us to try and get better and more efficient, isn't it? So I think people's individual experience makes a big difference. I mean, the other thing I'd say is so there are little leaks. There are also very, very big leaks. So people will have seen in the news. There was one I was at down in Gloucestershire the other day. We had some very big bursts. We absolutely want those fixed as soon as humanly
This was like the house was getting absolutely sprayed with water.
Yeah, that will be a
Some pictures of that. It was quite spectacular.
It was spectacular. So that's one of our major mains. Those we are on absolutely like a shot, and we need to make sure we've got customers on supply. There's a lot of complex network arrangement. There's a huge amount of stuff goes on around the region and in the control center to manage those events and get them fixed as soon as possible. I think that one went in the morning and was fixed at some point in the late evening. So it's an example of how we could get on those really big complex bursts really quickly. And if those ran for any period of time, we'd have a vast amount of leakage. So getting the big leaks really, really quick and getting the smaller leaks as quick as we can over a period of days is how we tend to operate.
Do you have any kind of customer commitment as to how quickly you fix a visible leak? Because I think you're quite right. Logically, you say you want to fix the ones that are gushing water, and in terms of how much water you're losing from a particular leak. But the dribbler that may be running for quite a while, if that has a negative impact on individuals or communities, then clearly that's not good from a perception point of view and a motivation point of view. Whilst that's not wasting lots of water, it's still having a very negative impact on people. So do you have any kind of, do you have a target, SLA, SLA, I'm doing it now, service level commitment to customers?
Yeah, we do. And I wasn't going to get to the weeds of what those are because you get into acronym territory and all that. What I would say, which I think is really important, is we want to fix all the leaks. So you may say, oh, that's only little, we'll leave that, we'll drop that off the list. But leaks grow, and even small leaks add up to tens, hundreds, thousands of litres very, very quickly. So we want all of them, basically. And every one we find will go on the system and it will get fixed at some point. The only reason they tend to drag on is where it is a customer's property, so it's not ours, and they tend to last a bit longer. If it's our network, we'll get on and repair it. And there is resource going on in the background. So hot weather or a winter outbreak, when we get a freeze or we get a massive spike in leaks, it may take us longer to get to those small ones. But we want them all, and we'll fix them all, and we want that to be days. We don't want that to be weeks and months.
Okay, so a clear message. Leaks, we're coming for you. I get that. You've dodged the customer commitment question about how quickly would you want to act on a visible leak. Do you have to come back to that then? So what is your commitment?
I think we do, yes. I'd have to check that. I don't know it off the top of my head.
I suppose where I was going with this actually is that if I report a leak, just taking it from a point of view of just an average punter, if I report a leak and you got in touch and said, actually, we're not going to get to this for 5 days because there's loads of other big stuff going on, I think I'd be okay with that. Do you know what I mean? Like as a punter, the communication, the point I'm very badly making here is that the communication back to customers is really important here. Do you close that loop when people report a leak.
Yeah, that is our aim. Keeping the customer informed. We call that ACI. If you've got another lovely.
Here we go.
But yeah, keep the customer informed. Really, really important. We know people get annoyed if they don't get informed about what's going on. I mean, interestingly, to choose a personal example, when I started in this job a couple of years ago, my wife reported a leak down the road, and that was just a coincidence, really. But it was interesting to see how the process works. Her feedback was we kept her over informed about what we were doing, because we were getting texts.
That's because you were going home and tell you.
And that wasn't just me. I was telling her as well. So maybe it was my bit that tipped her over the edge. But yeah, you're right. Keep a customer informed. We want to keep them informed. We'll do that via text. We'll do it via phone call if that's what people want. So that people get resolution on that leak you reported is fixed. And we know customers get annoyed when that takes longer. And it's perfectly understandable, isn't it?
Yeah, but I do think, though, from a customer point of view, a people point of view, that people tend to be quite reasonable and rational, but they do want to be kept informed. And you're right, at a sensible frequency. And if they are informed, then I think people would understand more. It's where people are kept in the dark and they don't know where things are going. I think that is what really angers them. So it's good to hear the people informed.
Yeah, and personally, I'd much prefer that attitude. That's a great public spirited attitude. If you're spotting a leak and reporting it, and you want it to be repaired, brilliant. And if people are approaching that in their daily lives, they want to fix leaks on their property, they want to be a bit wiser with their water use, fantastic. That helps them, it helps everybody else, it helps us make sure there's enough water and it keeps bills down. So that is the attitude I want. I'd much prefer that than an apathy where people aren't reporting them or they don't want to hear back. So I get that, and that is good.
Yeah, and I think by keeping them informed and fixing those leaks, that is one way of many that we can help create trust between water companies and their customers. And, as we know, trust is not where it should be or where it needs to be. And actually reporting leaks and making that experience good for most customers, but not your wife, is one way that you can help enhance their reputation. I think that is important, because I know companies quite often say, well, we've beaten our target and this, that and the other, but I think that gets blown out of the water, literally, excuse the pun, if they've seen a visible leak running and run it, because they'll just go, yeah, you say you've beaten your target and we've already exceeded our target, but I've just seen this leak for 2 weeks and I'm really cross and I didn't hear anything about it. So I do think we've got to be careful sometimes about how water companies explain what they're doing, because lived experience, I think, trumps just quoting a big massive target that you're exceeding.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think one of the things that's I think really important for us to sort of recognize is that you doing your bit as a water company really influences the motivation of individuals to do their bit in their own daily lives to save water. Now, one of the things that we're always banging on about in Waterfall is all these ways to save water, and we're very keen to hear other people's views and top tips. And I think you're just the person to share your top tips on how to save water. So what would you be recommending your customers do?
Yeah, and really like you for it. I think that's a great message to share with customers, and it helps people save money as well, doesn't it? As people move to more meter billing, so many benefits of doing that. We're sat here in July, so we've got a particular pinch point. So I think we're using lots of water in summer, and that means front of mind for us is what are those big uses of water in summer that you really could avoid. So closed pipes, swimming pools. Those things use a massive amount of water in a short space of time, and it can affect supply and pressure in the areas, as well as that long-term supply-demand position we talked about. So I'd have a think again about using those. If you can reuse pool water, if you can use a watering can, you can leave your lawn to go yellow. I think Monty Dunn, the gardening experts, will say that's fine. It'll bounce back. You don't need to keep it fresh green all the time. I think those are some big uses. I think shower times as well, the one we often talk about. So if you can keep that to a minimum, we love people to shower and keep clean. That's obviously really important, but it makes a massive difference if you're in there for 40 minutes or you're in there for 10. So I think shower time is a massive influencing thing, and garden and outdoor use, they're two things that really come to mind. And then the final one is, and this is because I predominantly work on leakage, if you've got a leaking toilet, a leak on your property, fix that. It'll add up to a lot more than you were using some of those other uses over time. So just get it fixed really quickly, and we can often help with that. So have a look on our website. There's plenty of ways that we can help.
That's what you'd recommend if people want to find out more, go to your website.
Yes, so there's stuff on there about how you can check that you've got a leak and what the volume is. There's some indications to where you can find approved plumbers. So there's a list out there of people that will do that work for you on your property. And we do also offer what's called home water efficiency audits. Most of the companies offer these. So if you think you've got a problem or you think you'd like some information on water use in your property, we can send people out and they'll have a look around and talk to you and maybe put some water saving products in as well. And they can fix some simple leaks if they spot them well on that. So ultimately, that's your responsibility, but ways we can help, have a look at the website. I think all companies offer something very similar.
Yeah, we can put the link to your website in the show notes. So that's really good. And our final question is, what do you use, Howard? What's your personal water use?
Great question. So last time I was on, you'll remember I had to estimate. You'll remember. No listener will ever remember. They're never going to listen back, are they? But I had to make an estimate. I have got some. How dare you, Howard? We've got very loyal listeners who listen back. Good. Yeah, good. Well, they may remember. I think I was in the 90s last time from my estimate. I know precisely now because we have got a smart meter and I look on a regular basis. Has gone up.
Your whole career would be lacking in any credibility if you didn't have a meter being the leakage manager. Sure.
So yeah, absolutely. So I checked yesterday, 107 litres per person per day we're on, which is, our average is 135, something like that. And we want to see that come down through all the stuff I've talked about. So I like to think I'm showing good practice, although as with anyone, there's always stuff I can do better. I don't want the
107, did you say?
107, litres per person per day.
But that's below the 2050 target.
I'm quite pleased.
Of 110 litres a day. So, I don't think you should be beating yourself up about being below the 2050 target. Only 25 years early.
Beating my family up anyway. Well, telling them off. I don't do that. I think that's a good amount. And what I would say is that's not once wearing a hair shirt and never having showers and all that. That's normal stuff. You can get down to that level, I think, pretty easily. And if all the customers did, we'd be in a great spot environmentally. There'd be enough water in the environment and enough water to go around. So
I think that's a really strong message because it's not a great sacrifice. In fact, I would argue it's not a sacrifice at all to save water. It's just about a few simple steps, a few simple change of mindset and stuff. So you're absolutely right. Howard, it's great having you on. Thank you for telling us all about what you guys are up to on what is a tricky issue in the views of consumers. So I'll be sure to be reporting in my leaks as soon as I see them. But nice to phone in.
That's it. Pleasure. Thanks for having me.